Order. Today we continue our posture hearings with Indo-Pacific and U.S. Forces Korea. As we meet, adversaries are deepening their cooperation. China, Russia, and Iran, North Korea are working together to challenge the United States. Recent reports of China and Russia's support for Iran during Operation Epic Fury are just the latest example of this cooperation. In this threat environment, President Trump was right to commit a historic $1.5 trillion defense budget. This investment is essential to rebuild our military and ensure peace through strength. I look forward to working with President Trump and Secretary Hegseth to get it enacted. In particular, this investment is critical to addressing our most pressing challenge, that is deterring China in the Indo-Pacific. Under Xi Jinping, China is pursuing a historic military buildup. It now fields the world's leading hypersonic missile arsenal. The PLA is on track to exceed 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030. China is the world's preeminent shipbuilding nation, and its growing arsenal of conventional long-range strike, cyber, and space capabilities increasingly puts not only the U.S. interest in the region at risk, but also the U.S. homeland. And China is not just building capability, it's demonstrating intent. In a December exercise, the PLA encircled Taiwan and rehearsed operations to isolate and seize the island. To ensure the department can deter China through strength, we must improve integrated air and missile defense systems, including Guam defense system, scale production of innovation, low-cost munitions, and attritable unmanned systems, replenish our munition stockpiles, especially long-range fires, and rebuild and modernize U.S. shipbuilding. Moreover, we need a strong network of alliances and partnerships. Fortunately, Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines, and Australia are increasing their defense spending and providing critical access and basings that enable our forces to operate throughout the region. Taiwan, too, has made strides in strengthening its self-defense capabilities and is already spending about 3% of its GDP on defense. And like President Trump, the Taiwanese president is also proposing a special budget to bring their defense spending closer to 5% of GDP. I encourage their legislative body to pass that as soon as possible. The stakes are clear not only for Taiwan, but also for the United States. A cross-strait invasion would disrupt the global economy and enable China to dominate the Pacific and its key sea lanes to America's deterrent. The time is now to strengthen Taiwan's defenses. I urge the Department to move quickly to execute congressionally appropriated funds for the Taiwan Security Cooperative Initiative. The recently announced $11 billion U.S. arms sales is a positive step, but we must make use of every available authority to arm Taiwan. That is consistent with the 2026 National Defense Strategy's call to build a strong denial defense along the first island chain. While China is our pacing challenge, North Korea remains a persistent threat and cannot be ignored. North Korea forces are gaining real-world combat experience fighting for Vladimir Putin against Ukraine. In return, Putin is giving Kim advanced technologies to greatly enhance his military capabilities. North Korea's advancing cyber, nuclear, and missile arsenals threaten both South Korea and the U.S. homeland. Therefore, I'm encouraged that South Korea is demonstrating a clear commitment to taking on significantly greater responsibility for its own defense. But that progress must not be undermined by a premature reduction of U.S. forces from the peninsula or a premature transition of wartime operational control. I want to thank our witnesses for being here and their service to our nation. I look forward to hearing how we can work together to ensure our warfighters have what they need to maintain stability and deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. With that, I yield to my friend, the ranking member, for any opening statement he may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clearly, the Indo-Pacific and the Korean Peninsula are crucial to our national security and to peace and stability across the globe. I thank our witnesses for being here, and I thank them for their leadership in helping us meet that challenge. And I substantially agree with the Chairman's comments. One key to this is us maintaining a significant deterrent capability in the region, a capability that enables us to deter China from making any aggressive moves in the region and also to deter North Korea. Certainly a key part of that is the strength of our defenses, but I think an even bigger part of that is what the Chairman mentioned at the end of his remarks, and that is the system of partners and alliances in the region that have been so crucial and that had been moving in a positive direction as they saw the threat from China and wanted our help. We need to maintain those relationships. We need to let those folks know that we are there and they can depend on us and that the United States is, in fact, a partner that they can rely on. So I'd be very curious to hear from our witnesses how those relationships are going moving forward. Certainly a key part of this is also what the Chairman referenced. We have to make Taiwan as strong as possible to deter China from thinking that they can reunify by force. That is to be a cornerstone of our policy. Yes, it is a one-China policy, but it will never be reunified by force. The absolute key to that is making sure that Taiwan is strong enough to deter China from thinking that they can successfully carry out that operation. Certainly, the same is true when it comes to deterring North Korea. They threaten South Korea, but they threaten the region, and as the Chairman has alluded to, given their involvement in Ukraine, they also are working more and more closely with China, with Russia, with Iran, as part of that group that is threatening our interests in a bunch of different places. So we need to deter them. I do believe that the bilateral relationship between China and the U.S. is the most important bilateral relationship in the world and will be for decades. So in addition to deterring them, I hope we find ways to have dialogue with them. I am deeply concerned that there is a lack of mill-to-mill conversations. I don't blame us for that. You know, China has been very reluctant to have those conversations. But again, as the Chairman mentioned, their massive military buildup, particularly in the nuclear area, demands that we be in a regular dialogue and conversation so that we better understand each other and can find a path forward to maintain peaceful relations. So I'll be very curious to hear your thoughts about how we can better communicate with China. I led a CODEL to China, the first one that had gone in like 5 or 6 years. I don't believe anyone's been back since. I think members of Congress need to get to China. I think the State Department certainly needs to get there, and we look forward to the President's conference coming up in, I think it's 2-3 weeks from now in China. I think that will be a crucial part of resetting the relationship. The other big problem in all of this, of course, is that the war in Iran has undermined every single one of those goals that we just laid out. Obviously, we are expending a lot of munitions and a lot of capability there, and the pie is the pie. If you're expending it somewhere, that undermines your ability to have it elsewhere. So do want to hear, and this is probably more for the classified session, but